Jared has an arm span of 4.5 feet and can jump 2 3/5 feet. How much longer is the length of Jared's arm span than the length of his jump in feet? Alright, so we're talking about Jared and we have his arm span. And I notice that we have this amount written as a decimal. We have his jump, which is written as a fraction. And it says how much longer is the length of his arm span than the length of his jump in feet. So we are going to be comparing the arm span with his jump. Whenever we're comparing and we have unequal amounts, 4.5 feet compared to 2 3/5 feet, we have unequal amounts. We're going to be subtracting to figure out that difference. So I'm going to start with my question, which is answering my question, Jared's arm span is blank feet longer. And so I'm going to use my models like we have before. We have 4.5 feet. So we have all of this model, all of the second model, the third model, and the fourth model. And then we need to cut this one in half and shade in half. To take away the 3/5, what we need to do is now we need to cut this so that we have only fifths. So I'm going to go back to my models and I'm going to think, well, how can I cut this into fifths? So first thing I probably want to do is think about turning this into a fraction. So let's do that first. 4 and 5/10 minus 2 3/5. Now the reason why I did that is because I now have a denominator of 5 and I have a denominator of 10. So can I get these fifths to turn into tenths? Well, yes we can. So what we want to do is we want to go back to our picture and we're going to take our fifths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to cut them into tenths by cutting them across. Fifths, then in half. Fifths, then in half. Fifths, cut it in half. Fifths, and in half. And so what is equivalent to 3/5? Well, we could say it's equivalent to 6/10. So 2 6/10 is equivalent to 2 3/5. Now that I've got my model cut into the right pieces, I just want to say, do you see how many pieces we have here and why pictures are not going to be the most efficient and why pictures could end up being confusing because we have so many pieces. We're confused with what to do with all of those pieces. So while we can still get our answer by looking at the pieces, it's a lot to take in and you do have to be very neat and organized when doing that. So I'm going to model for you what needs to happen. We know that 2 holes need to leave the group. I'm going to go ahead and cross out this group and this group and I'm going to draw an arrow. They're leaving. Then I need 6/10. So basically what I need is I need That's 2 tenths, I think. 2, 4, 6, 8. These tenths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are all leaving. So what is going to be left would be this amount here. So we have 1 whole, and then we have 2, 4, 6, 8 tenths left. I think that's what we have left here. If I'm looking at my picture correctly. It's a lot of lines. Alright, so I'm thinking that my answer is 1, 2, 4, 6, 8 tenths. Alright, so I'm going to leave that for now. I'm going to come back to that because I may not have looked at my picture very carefully. So let's do a quick estimate. 4.5 is basically about 5. And 2 3/5 is really about 3. So when I subtract these, my answer should be pretty close to 2, which is kind of what I'm getting here. It's pretty close. So I'm going to go over here to my algorithm and I'm going to set it up. We're going to start with 4 5 tenths minus 2 3/5. Just like we did over here for our picture, we needed to make some common denominators happen. So I'm going to rename this as 3/5 6 tenths, and I'm going to rewrite it 2 6 tenths minus 4 5 tenths. Now when I try to subtract the 6 from the 5, that can't happen. So I'm going to have to do some regrouping. So one way I may want to look at it is to cross out the 4 and make it a 3 10 tenths. And I don't want to lose these 5 tenths, so I'm going to put them together. So now I'm going to put parentheses around them because that's telling me I need to add these together first. So 5 tenths plus 10 tenths is 15 tenths. And my number 3 is going to slide down. I'm going to subtract 2 6 tenths. And now I need to subtract. So I've got 15 tenths minus 6 tenths, which is going to be 9 tenths. And 3 minus 2 is going to give me 1. Now that's not matching my picture, so let me go back and look and see what has happened. I believe where I messed up is with my picture here. This probably should have been 1 whole piece, and that's where I'm missing that. Alright, so you can see the disadvantage of using a picture when you have numerous models. But is 1 9 tenths pretty close to the number 2? Yes, it is. And so your answer is going to be 1 9 tenths. Alright, I'll meet you back for number 5.